Please be seated for the Vice Master's address.
Good evening. As Vice Master, it is my pleasure to welcome you all to this significant moment in the life of the College. The inauguration of a new Master is a moment for celebration, a moment of renewal, a moment of both change and continuity. Professor Chris Young will be the 16th Master of the College. It is my honour this evening to welcome our fellowship, members of our college staff, our student body, our wider college community, representatives of Pembroke College, heads of house, and of course, those nearest and dearest to Chris, including his wife Angela, to this ceremony. And a welcome to those of you who are watching this on the live stream. Chris comes to us with such a distinguished biography. Professor of Modern and Medieval German Studies at the University of Cambridge, head of the School of Arts and Humanities, director of the Cambridge DAAD Research Hub for German Studies, and founder and director of the Cambridge LMU Strategic Partnership, Cambridge's first institution-wide partnership with any university. In 2022, Chris was selected by his peers to serve an unprecedented second term as head of the School of Arts and Humanities, having guided it through the pandemic. And he brings to the college his experience as a member of the university senior leadership team. As head of school, Chris was responsible for 10 faculties and departments, Europe's largest interdisciplinary centre, CRASH, the Leverhulme Centre for the Future of Intelligence, the University Language Centre, an annual budget of around £45 million, and the operations of over 400 academic and professional support staff, amongst other things. He has primary teaching and research interests in medieval German literature and language, and the history of European and in particular German sport. And indeed, is a prize-winning historian of modern sport. His monograph, The 1972 Munich Olympics and the Making of Modern Germany, was the first book to win the prizes of both the British and North American Societies for Sports History. In 2021, his The Whole World Was Watching Sport in the Cold War also won the latter's Anthology Prize. Chris is currently serving on the German government's Historical Commission on the terrorist attack at the 1972 Olympics in Munich. As set out in the college's statutes, the Master of St. Edmund's presides over the college as a place of education, religion, learning and research. And Chris has certainly dedicated his whole career to such endeavours. Despite Chris's international academic profile, he is absolutely a Cambridge scholar and understands the university and the collegiate system in all its intricacies. From his first class Modern and Medieval Languages undergraduate degree to his PhD in German literature, to his many years of service as a fellow, he has been a member of Pembroke College. We are grateful to Pembroke for relinquishing Chris to us and not at all sorry that we are stealing him away. Many of you will have been to the major exhibition at the Fitzwilliam Museum on the 1924 Paris Olympics, co-curated by Chris. The exhibition received a 5-star review in The Guardian. In response to our message of congratulation, Chris responded, "Now all I have to be is a 5-star master." I have no doubt that he will achieve this. The review also said that the exhibition fizzed with surprises. I still can't decide if we want Chris to fizz with surprises or not. I'm particularly delighted to welcome Chris's personal guests to the college. St. Edmund's was born out of centuries of exclusion of the UK's Roman Catholic minority. Until 1871, Roman Catholics and other religious minorities were legally excluded from full participation in the University of Cambridge. Our 19th century founders confronted continued prejudice and fear to make a clear case that no one should be excluded from the intellectual rigour, challenge and attainment of the University of Cambridge on the basis of who they are or what they believe. The college and the university have expanded significantly in recent decades, welcoming a broad demographic of people from around the world, and the college has long welcomed people of all faiths and none. The college has grown from just 6 Roman Catholic students to a diverse and inclusive community of nearly 1,000 members from over 75 countries. Such incredible diversity means that we remain open to new ways of thinking and to imagining new possibilities. Our students leave this college to go on to shape the world. This institution forms global thinkers and leaders who bridge disciplines and cultures to solve humanity's challenges. We aim together to build a better future by developing, supporting, and connecting a community of global talent, inspired to learn from difference and united in a commitment to improve the future for individuals, societies, and the world. Today, we welcome Chris as our head of house in the knowledge that he will join us in our vision of this shared future. We know, Chris, that you embody our core values of open-mindedness, inclusiveness, and integrity, and will empower others to do the same. As the fellow with the responsibility for overseeing the recruitment and election of a new head of house, I am particularly delighted to welcome Chris as the next master. Many months ago now, when we appointed search consultants to help us with the process, I asked them to approach Chris and to see if they could persuade him to apply. I know he was somewhat taken aback, but they did a good job in convincing him to consider taking us on. It is a leap of faith and courage to make such an application and to put yourself through a mastership election process. Chris could see that we were a good fit. He was genuinely passionate about our vision throughout the election process. When he gave his speech to the fellowship as the finale of the recruitment process, I felt that the vote was a foregone conclusion. We knew beyond doubt that Chris was prepared to be totally and utterly committed to St. Edmund's when he mentioned that, if elected, he would be forfeiting 3 years sabbatical leave to take up the mastership. On the evening of the vote, having been warned that the process of debate and voting could go on long into the night, after the feedback and formalities, I asked the fellowship to line up to vote. But where is our debate about the candidates? Where is the fierce discussion? One governing body member asked. But no, I said, we will do a first vote, then see if we need to debate. It was the right call. By 7 p.m. we had finished and the next master had been elected. By 8 p.m. we were all at home watching the TV. This is testimony to the consensus amongst the fellowship that Chris is the right person to lead us through the next phase of the college's development. Chris impressed us with his leadership skills and ideas for working together to take the college forward. Chris is personally aligned with our vision and values and showed such kindness and humour through the election process. I am so happy to welcome such an eminent academic and wholeheartedly good person as Chris as our next master, and look forward to working with Chris to deliver the many exciting plans in the pipeline for the college.
I've got a shilling here.
Could whoever's in charge of the app? These are new lights, they're very exciting. They're dimmable, you can change the colours, somebody is playing with them at the back. I know that Chris will support us to continue what we already do well and to build on our many assets to achieve yet more in the future. We are very excited to be taking the next steps in our college's journey with Chris as our 16th master. Chris, we extend the hand of friendship to you and are truly honoured to welcome you as the Master of St Edmund's. I now call on the Prior-Lector to present the Master-elect.
Dignissimi soci collegi et sancti Edmundi et totum collegium. Praesenta vobis hunc virum, electum atque confirmatum senatu nostro, quem scio tam moribus quam doctrina, esse idoneum ad officium magistri collegi nostri. Idque vobis fide mea praesto totique collegio.
Dignissime Prior-Lector, Proctor Senatum Collegi, qui hunc virum elegibit, et societatem totum, qui benigne eam recipiendam, accipio fidem tuum, et suum declarationem supplico. Magister-elect, placet tibi?
Placet mihi. I, Professor Christopher Young, elected Master of St Edmund's College, do solemnly declare that I will observe the statutes and ordinances of the college, will discharge to the best of my abilities the duties of my office, and will endeavour to the utmost of my power, without fear or favour, to promote the college as a place of education, religion, learning and research.
Auctoritate mihi commissa, admitto te ad officium magistri collegi Sancti Edmundi.
Please be seated for the Master's address.
I bind unto myself today. As we're gathered here in a place of worship, I thought it appropriate in my first words as Master of St Edmund's College to reflect on a text that fitted our surroundings. When I was invited to consider the music for this inauguration, I knew instinctively that I wanted St Patrick's Breastplate, a hymn much loved by both traditions on the island from which I come, and one we sang at school at Campbell College, Belfast. With its tricky cadences, it can challenge a congregation, but rescue a choir in trouble. How often did our conductor, the accomplished Michael McGuffin, resort to it, or parts of it, as an introit, when we had taken too long to master an anthem? I can hear the despair in his voice. St. Patrick's Breastplate, the hurried snap of music folders shutting, and the collective rummaging for the hymn books as parents and teachers were already filing into the family service. St. Patrick's Breastplate was our go-to, but what a go-to it was. As the history of the hymn and its text attest, however, my instinct was driven by more than nostalgia. The words are based on a text written in the Old Irish vernacular, found in fragments from the 9th century and complete in the 11th century collection, the Liber Hymnorum. They were recast in the late 19th century by Cecil F. Alexander on the request of Hercules Henry Dickinson, Dean of the Chapel Royal at Dublin Castle. Alexander, who spent most of her life in Strabane and Derry, was a hymn writer of some repute. Her catalogue includes All Things Bright and Beautiful, There is a Green Hill Far Away, and Once in Royal David's Sitting. Alexander's words, in turn, were set to music by Charles Villiers Stanford, based on 2 traditional Irish melodies taken from his own edition of George Petrie's collection of the ancient music of Ireland from the mid-19th century. Born in Dublin, Stanford was educated at Cambridge, was organist at Queen's and Trinity, and spent long spells studying in Leipzig and Berlin. His cover, while he was in Leipzig and Berlin, was the organist of Pembroke. This much I knew, but what I hadn't quite realised was the date of composition. Dickinson commissioned Alexander to turn the best prose translations into a metrical version in 1889, which she did, remarkably, within a week. Stanford wrote the music in 1902. The gestation of our processional hymn today, therefore, spans the foundation of St Edmund's College in 1896. Uncannily, St Edmund's sits at its midway point. And if ever there was a hymn to sum up your new master, a medievalist, a philologist, an Irishman, a Germanist, a scholar of the University of Cambridge, and an amateur schoolboy chorister, it is St Patrick's Breastplate. The hymn, of course, transcends me and all those who sing it. St Patrick's Breastplate is Ireland's Jerusalem. Parry and Stanford were somewhat rivals. A river dance of a melody, and Ireland's call to the faithful. It's of the lorica, body armour genre, a mythical prayer of protection Christianized during early Irish monasticism in allusion to the breastplate of righteousness in Paul's letter to the Ephesians. St Patrick's Breastplate was not written by Patrick himself. Dated to the beginning of the 8th century, it comes some 3 centuries after his death. But no matter. As his biographer Philip Freeman notes, it certainly captures the spirit of the man. Patrick, the Roman nobleman who was kidnapped from his native Britain, trafficked to Ireland, and subjected to 6 years of slavery, who escaped his captors, returned to Britain, but later devoted his life to the Irish, who walked no green and pleasant land, but wandered a dangerous patchwork of tribal and druidic ties, who risked his life in the service of the religious minority, slaves and women in particular, and who stood his ground against the British church establishment. Patrick might not have driven the snakes out of Ireland, but he did so much more. He lived at the ends of the known world, as Ireland was then thought to be, and as the Roman Empire crumbled, what also felt like the end of time. Through these times and in that place, he laboured with urgency and for a higher purpose. Although only attributed to him, St. Patrick's breastplate, whether in the original or in Alexander and Stanford's rendering, captures the drama of all of them. We live in different, though no less turbulent times. What Patrick and the breastplate remind us is to seek a higher purpose and place our lives in the service of it. As a college for those of the Catholic faith, all faiths and no faith, we encourage all members of our community to seek their higher purpose, to go into the world and to work to shape a better future for all people and the planet we share. As St. Edmund's, as our mission statement puts it, and as Gemma has already said, we seek to form global thinkers and leaders who bridge disciplines and cultures to solve humanity's problems. To this end, may they, and we all, rise today, rise being an alternative translation to bind, rise with the strength of the sky, with the light of the sun, with the splendour of the moon, with the brilliance of fire, with the blaze of lightning, with the swiftness of wind, with the depth of the ocean, with the firmness of earth, with the strength of rock. Those medieval Irish certainly knew how to write. I stand here, a proud Irishman. Did you ever meet one who wasn't? A proud Irishman humbled by the trust the college has placed in me. A trust I pledge again, less formally, to repay, as the breastplate puts it, with whatever power, strength, wisdom, and vision that is granted to me. I'm grateful for the many acts of kindness, friendship, and magnanimity that you have shown me since my election. I'm grateful to the 3 honorary fellows who encouraged me to apply and furnished me with wonderful advice once I did. Leszek Borishevich, Boris, Edward Acton, and my fellow countryman, Francis Campbell. To my predecessor, Catherine Arnold, whose dedicated work over the last 5 years, through a pandemic, let us not forget, when St. Edmund's had the largest residence in the university, I'm privileged to continue, and who has been generous to me throughout, from the outset until handover just a few days ago. Grateful to other former masters for their offers of support, in particular Paul, Lucio and Jane for their warm hospitality. And to the Vice Master, Gemma Burgess, who oversaw the process with great professionalism and has taken me in hand ever since. Thank you, Gemma, for your immensely kind words today. As the Germans would say, ich habe mich kaum wiedererkannt. I hardly recognized myself in them. What is more important, however, is not what you say about me today, but what you say when I'm leaving. If I live up even half to your expectations, I will be content. I bind unto myself today.
Please stand for the Dean's blessing.
Through the intercession of St. Edmund, our patron, May God grant us clarity in our thoughts and charity in our hearts. May we serve him with the rigour of our minds and the labour of our hands, and so put to good use the gifts we have been given. May we be delivered from fear before new truth, complacency before half-truth, and pride that would claim all truth. May we seek only that which is good, excellent, admirable, honourable, and worthy of praise. Through and by the grace of him, the giver of all gifts, who lives and reigns for ever and ever. Amen.